generally now a bigger horror fan than I am that of superheroes, so Doppelganger is right up my street. Browsing online, I'd already seen talk that this 4-issue limited series from Alterna Comics would make a great movie. I'd agree and can see where it might be modified for film. The comic, for instance, doesn't waste any time on the story's inciting incident. Our protagonist, Dennis Zimmann, is thrown straight in at the deep end by the writer Jordan Hart. A movie adaptation would likely flesh out the setup of this character's life before the life-altering car crash, but for comics, this sort of rapid approach is absolutely fine and leaves the reader joining Dennis in wondering what on earth is going on from the first page. The entire series is a good read for any aspiring comics writer looking to tight, condensed storytelling. The last plot turn in the series is just as swift a resolution as the opening is an introduction to the story. Without giving too much away, the story uses the old doppelganger mythology, Hart infusing the classic idea of antagonist as mirror of the protagonist and giving it a very literal twist. Zimmann's struggles, like many traditional stories, see him transition gradually from being fairly passive to a very active protagonist, which we'll talk about in further issues. The art style of Javier falls fairly close to what I like in terms of being relatively loose. I think it fits with this form of story, using plenty of solid black inks when necessary. As I've seen and appreciated with Joe Bennett recently, Javier also really throws in high and low POVs with abundance, which together with the loose, lo-fi realism allowed me to really immerse myself in Dennis Zimmann's life. Another subplot antagonist that might be moved to before the crash in a potential movie adaptation is Zimmann's superior at work, who happens to be the son-in-law of the ultimate boss. John Hart sets up this antagonism early, pays it off well later, many pages before Zimmann meets his ultimate antagonist, himself, on page 14. I won't give anything else away for potential readers, but Hart establishes a great time lock so that Zimmann has to act, or within 36 hours it's game over. Our writer also establishes a horrific result of the two identical Zimmanns being seen together, clearly preventing our protagonist from simply explaining to people what is happening by showing them. So far, for issue 1, this is a highly recommended comic.